Hello, welcome all to the show. Once again, Vern from Cinema Recall enters the
Why,
building.
hello.
Why, hello.
Hello there, Cam. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to come in here so fast with my interruption and whatnot, but thank you for having me back on.
Anytime. We are going into Shirley Walker.
Shirley Walker.
One of the most progressive, earlier female composers in Hollywood. She is best known for collaborations with Brad Fiedel, Mark Snow, Richard Van at Empire Pictures, Hans Zimmer, Trevor Jones, Graham Revell, and most notably Danny Elfman. She has scored Batman the Animated Series and Mask of the Phantasm movie companion. She has composed as well Superman the Animated Series, the Spawn animated show for HBO.
Oh, that one's good. Mm-hmm. That's a great show.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Other syndicated shows such as Falcon Crest, the 90s Flash, Viper, and the cult sci-fi epic Space Above and Beyond.
Nice. And Cagney and Lacey.
Cagney and Lacey. She started out there on Cagney and Lacey, and she has provided additional music for films such as Pacific Heights, Nightbreed, and The Dungeon Master, and also contributed main score, isolated scores to the first three Final Destination films, which never got an official CD release, but had promo CDs that are now collector's items out there.
Okay.
She's also done the remakes of Willard and 2006 Black Christmas, as well as Escape from LA, Turbulence, White Fang, and Chicago Joe and the Showgirl.
Yes, very much so. So, and I saw her too that she had a rejected score for
a lot of rejected scores. So
for
many.
Tiny Toons, yeah,
Tiny Toons, as well as True Lies. It's just Mystery Men. It's just like so many times she's the helper, and there's other times where it's like kind of like the directors is like whoever starts it has to get the main credit, even if it's bullshit.
Because you mentioned that she kind of got to start working with Tim Burton for his score. That's not where she got to start. I know she got to start back in like the 70s.
Yeah.
But when it comes to working with Danny Elfman for Nightbreed, it seems so she did like a lot of like additional music and helping out, or same thing too with Escape from LA, because I recently just watched that movie and I remember all the iconic music that John Carpenter and Alan Howarth had for that. Well, I don't think Alan Howarth helped so much with Escape from New York. I think that was all John Carpenter's score. But he came back in. Alan Howarth helped out with Escape from LA with additional music from Shirley Walker. And I'm watching the movie, listening to the score from that, and I'm like, I don't know what you added to this, Miss Walker. I don't know what you did to make this thing. Is it the answer to your guitars? Because when you listen to Escape from New York score, it's very minimalized with this use
rock soundtrack by Carpenter. But yeah, I mean, there's other ones where it kind of stands out. And I think that's just it. You know, this was before everyone was checking. Everyone was just looking at your resume and hiring you on that.
But yeah, I know, like, even was just I listened to the score for Nightbreed because it just seemed like that's all Danny Elfman's score. So it's really hard for me to tell which is her stuff and which is his stuff. Same thing with like Pacific Heights, because Hans Zimmer did the score for that one, and she did additional music only. Is that like maybe small incidental, like not the main scores, but maybe like the small ones,
transitions,
stuff like that.
So basically, her best luck is definitely, I mean, the first score where she got on my radar was the Space Above and Beyond soundtrack. That's just an epic Star Trek like score. But what really made it for me was altogether, it was possibly definitely the Batman cartoon show as well as Superman. It's just like lots of trumpets blaring, and it's like, so that's pretty much it. Just the DC cartoon shows. That's pretty much her bread and butter.
And I like very much the scores she's done for the animated series, as well as Batman Mask of the Phantasm, because she does take that initial Danny Elfman score that he had specifically for the first two Batman movies that came out in '89 and I want to say '92 for Batman and Batman
Yes.
Returns, and she definitely knows how to like copy that type of style that Danny Elfman had, and is able to make that work for a TV show. Because when you watch the Batman animated series, it feels like a continuation of the Tim Burton movies that were
Totally.
made. And the score really helps out with that. I think that Batman Mask of the Phantasm is a really excellent Batman movie. You don't need to watch the TV show to
Anything. No.
watch it. It's a good standalone movie. I still think Mark Hamill is probably one of my favorite Jokers
Yeah.
ever. I like the fact too that it's so much focused more on Batman and Bruce Wayne. I think it's like probably like one of the best Batman movies, and I think Shirley Walker's score really adds a lot to it. But I'll be honest with you, every time I hear the theme song and stuff going on there, I'm thinking Danny Elfman. I know that Shirley Walker wrote a lot of the score pieces, but her music sounds so much in tune with Danny Elfman that she never kind of stands out on her own.
It's all right. No, we're all about constructive. Like we did that a lot when we did the Trevor Rabin and Mark Mancina special, where we were like, hey, Rabin might be not as well known, but he just stands out so much more with his percussion and guitar, while Mancina kind of just got, other than Speed and Lion King, kind of was mainly just the Hans Zimmer backup, protege. It's
Yeah.
and that's kind of, you could easily probably say that here too. She just studied with Zimmer and Elfman, and then kind of just went from there.
And I do like that every time she does work with a composer, she does a great job of assimilating that score and that tone. And I can see why she gets hired a lot, because she does understand the job and rule for the director and the other composer to have things work in the confines of that particular movie. The only soundtrack where I believe she actually had her own voice, and it's actually one of my favorites, is Willard, the remake that came out with Crispin Glover.
Fair enough. So that was kind of her kick in the door. She just, ever since Space Above and Beyond, she hung out with James Wong and some of the other lead X-Files guys on their own projects. That's where, Final Destination was, conceived. They were using rejected scripts for X-Files, and that became that whole franchise. And Willard was the same deal, where they were just saying, hey, let's remake one of our favorite horror movies from the 60s.
Yes. I still think, I have seen both versions of Willard, and I think Willard would have been like a great star-making vehicle for everyone involved. It did better at the box office. I felt bad that they were influenced by studio interference by making it change from an R-rated film to a PG-13, because if it was an R-rated film, I don't think it would have gotten as much backlash.
Right. And it didn't help that the original was made before, just, ratings were really a thing. You either got a PG or an R.
Yeah. And if listeners don't know what Willard's about, it's about this Willard, played by Crispin Glover,
A bullied kid getting back, using Mother Nature basically to kill those who have wronged him.
Yeah, he's a bad guy. Gets picked on a lot there. He adopts his pet rat, and he trains other rats to do his bidding and attack people. And it's great. And Crispin Glover is great. But what I love best about the score for Willard is the use of the accordion, because for me, the accordion is always like the sort of like the music of the outcast.
Yeah.
The nerd of the life right there. And I thought it was so great. It's got this like circus feel to it, like the freak show. And I'm sure everyone kind of considers Willard to be a freak show. Crispin Glover himself is always considered to be kind of like a freak show, especially with his eccentric behavior, especially on interviews with shows. And if you ever listened to any of his songs, that's great. His cover of Ben.
He sings?
Yes. He did a cover of Michael Jackson's Ben, and it's absolutely great. And the music video is even greater too. It's just freaking insane, and I love it very much. It's one of my favorite things ever in the world. But the use of the accordion, I'm pretty sure that Shirley Walker helped composed the remake of Ben, because it's got this accordion sound to it too, and the same type of accordion is used throughout the score for Willard. and I thought it was absolutely just great. And the use of it through almost the whole soundtrack was absolutely epic. I saw the behind the scenes. There was like a great 2-hour documentary about the making of Ben, or about the making of Willard, and all the problems that it went through with its studios heads and everything, and interviews with James Wan and composer Shirley Walker. But it shows a sequence when they're composing the score for Willard, and Shirley Walker has like about 6 or 7 accordion players playing together with an orchestra, and it's absolutely
deep
just
dive back in the DVD days.
oh yeah, they had that. So you got like a 2-hour documentary about what went wrong with the movie and why it kind of became a failure at the box office. Really kind of fun thing too. Then they have like the audio commentary from the directors and stars. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, it made me really appreciate the movie even more. And I love it when there's a documentary or a commentary track on a movie that failed, because I'm more interested in that. I'm interested in knowing why a movie failed or what happened.
Totally. One of the big complaints when some of these Walter Hill movies were getting on DVD and Blu-ray was people were like, I just want to listen to the commentary, hear the guy's take. Because sometimes you need to understand where they're coming from in order to understand the material better. It's just easier, especially if, again, like the damn, film has just been so over marketed, and it's only fair because it's not the same as script to scream at that point. Now it's just it is what it is.
Yeah. But like that when I thought that and then she did so she did the score for Final Destination series, or at least the no, you said that first three, yep, all right.
And the score was never officially released. You could isolate the score on the first movie, but the rest were just like there was a promo for movie 2 as well, like a promo CD. But it's again, this is collector's item stuff. You would probably have to go through track.net or something like that, or I think it's soundtrack.net and even eBay to just find something like that that's like a promo thing that they give out at Target or what have you, or just certain LA event.
All right. And I saw too, even before she did the score for Escape from LA, she did the score for Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah.
Interesting. So that started the Carpenter thing. So yeah, the main thing I was seeing was Tim Burton, X-Files guys, and even Charles Band, Empire Pictures. So it seems like she's been all over the map before she got into doing primetime show TV and cartoon shows.
Yeah, no, it's like she just kind of did everything. But when I'm listening to like her stuff, besides Batman and Mission Space, and the Spawn is another great soundtrack too. And I remember very much that show. But even the Spawn one, even though it came out in '97, I still feel like she was still kind of copying that Tim Burton style in a way. And I don't know if you thought the same thing too for Superman, the animated series, that still copied a certain type of tone that Danny Elfman.
Yeah, it's either what she was inspired by or she was getting notes from producers. It needs to sound like this,
Yeah. So
it does make you wonder, is like, what's the real deal?
Exactly. And yeah, I just from like listening to quick little clips of the Final Destination score, I know she can serve a scene very well, but I don't know, there's something about her work just seems like it's good, it serves a purpose, but it's never a score that I want to buy the whole thing of. And it's hard for a lot of her scores too, because there is no just score for Escape from LA. They have the soundtrack with music from other bands that were in the movie, like White Zombie and Stabbing Westward and Tori Amos. But there's maybe 1 or 2 tracks to the score, but not actually a full score soundtrack. It's hard to find, especially for older movies, an actual full score soundtrack.
We'll return after these messages.
The Jacked Up Review Show podcast is honored to be part of the Blind Knowledge Podcast Network. Join anytime, talk the talk, and enjoy yourselves. There's something enlightening for everyone with this crowd of cool cats. Check them out.
Hey, Hey, it's Brent Pope, the host of Breakfast with Brent Pope. You've seen me on some of your favorite TV shows saying things like, "Give it up, Jimmy. You got to sink this putt to win." On Breakfast with Brent Pope, I sit down with guests from the entertainment world, and we do it all over breakfast. Or should I say Brentfast? Every week on Brentfast, you get inside Hollywood info and tips, great breakfast recs and booty debates. Most of all, you get the most delightful 30 minutes of your week. So dig in. It's Brentfast time. Listen at Brentfast.com, Apple Podcasts, or wherever fine podcasts are found.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
Yeah, unless you rip it from the DVD or Blu-ray itself. Yeah.
And the only company right now that's sort of like releasing, original score soundtracks is Mondo Records. So
they do a damn good job, and
they do. Oh yeah.
Store.
Yeah. They just have so much. It's like they got the actual backing tracks or the actual live tracks.
It's like these Blu-ray companies. They have been knocking on the guy's doors saying, what will it take? What do we need to pay to make this a reality?
And they do such a great job with that. So yeah, I would be, if they actually did release Willard's score, I would probably get that, because that's probably my favorite thing that she's done. I liked what she did very much for the Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That serves the movies just fine. I'm very curious about Black Christmas because I've seen the 1974 original from Bob Clark, and I like that. And people, I know a lot of my horror fans, I say that the one in 2006 was pretty good. It was actually a lot more graphic and much more disturbing horror wise, but they said that's a very good score. So I will seek that one out. It's kind of funny too, because I know you mentioned that she did the Final Destination stuff. Like, oh yeah, okay, she did, and those ones were kind of cool. I'm very curious to check out the DVD if it's got a commentary track, which I'm reading about, which I love very much when there actually is
they go the extra mile to actually tell you.
I kind of like that too when DVDs have a score from composers.
Which is kind of more common now than it was then.
I mean, the only score I can think of right now, because I know they did this for, I believe it was the Matrix DVD. There's a commentary from Don Davis, the composer of that. And it's kind of cool too, because it does feature not only his music, but also he comments on the songs used in the movie from other artists.
Wow.
So that was actually kind of a fascinating thing to see. And I would love to have more composers do that. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, the only one who I can think of who did that was Christopher Frank, from Tangerine Dream, as well as Christopher Young. They would merge two giant scores from two movies they did, and every once in a while they would sneak in like two additional movie, like two tracks from two other movies.
Okay. Yeah.
On there. And it's like, and again, just the market is very crazy. Don't ever buy these on Amazon or you will go broke, because it's
yes.
And
oh yeah.
I try my best to listen to them on iTunes, but sometimes it's still not even the full score. It's the generic, what got released, or it just doesn't sound as epic as the remaster. So you gotta
or it's always done by some other like band or other. It's the same composer, but it's orchestrated by someone else. It's not quite the same. It's a different version of it. It's not quite the one you heard in the movie itself. It's like a different alteration of it, and that can be kind of difficult to get to, because they don't have the resources to find the actual copy of the original conductor score. Yeah. Oh, I mean, did you have like a favorite? I mentioned my favorite score from Shirley Walker is Willard.
Oh, definitely Space Above and Beyond. Like that. That goes beyond just the typical Star Trek, or Babylon 5 type of score, and really just
What is
has
there
a lot
something
of
that's
intense claustrophobic kind of moments, let alone just kind of like a typical kind of people prepping at a Navy Academy, mixing it in with a sci-fi kind of feel. So I do
okay?
applaud her for a lot of those, because that's not easy. And it's all, especially not a walk in the park, because there's just so many other times where, I mean, these people who we've been comparing them to, have had plenty of scores where it's like you listen and you're like, well, I mean, that's cool, but it just doesn't fit this movie for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, was there something like, kind of because you mentioned that it's not like your typical sci-fi story, but it pays
Yeah, like
homage
there's a
to that
lot of
stuff.
scenes where they're trapped in space or trying to pilot around, and it's just complimenting all just the speeches that the actors are giving, or the sweat induced moments on their faces. So it is a pretty standout score, I think, that complements what's on screen, and it's very epic to listen to itself.
All right. Well, for listeners out there, I was doing some look of Shirley Walker. She was born in Napa, California on April 10th,
really?
1945. She was a piano soloist with the San Francisco Symphony during high school, and later attended San Francisco State University on a piano scholarship. Her film career actually began in 1879 when she was hired to play the synthesizers on Carmine's Coppola score for Apocalypse Now. And she became one of the first female composers to earn a solo score credit on a major Hollywood picture for John Carpenter's Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So that's kind of cool. The first kind of female to do that. She served as a board member from 86 to 94 and vice president from 88 to 92 for the Society of Composers and Lyricists, often speaking on behalf of composers and their working conditions. I'm getting some Wikipedia. But yeah, she did work for the DC universe, like you mentioned before.
Makes better sense when you think about it hard, because like she's basically trying to make a living, trying to overcome, circumstances at that time, and then, trying to find her own voice. And good on her for sticking with it, because it's not an easy industry.
No.
So it's like that. Given what we've been reading about the industry, from the past and today, so much of it is just, it has to sound the same, but it can't sound the same, if that makes sense. So you're, again, when you got contradictions to work with, where do you go? Where do you go from there?
Yeah, like I guess during the 79th Academy Awards, during the in memoriam section, her name was not mentioned, even though she's one of the very few female composers. And she actually did help conduct Batman with Danny Elfman. She was the conductor for both Scrooged and Batman, which I thought was really kind of cool. So she does.
And this is kind of like with the cinematography, we've gotten into issues with that. What was it? I think what's his name? Mauro Fiore, who's worked with some of the best, Peter Berg and even Michael Bay and Antoine Fuqua, movies like The Equalizer and Training Day. And he said, when he won the Oscar for best cinematography on Avatar, he was like, thank you. And by the way, I don't deserve this, essentially. It's like, I did not do those stunning effects that you're seeing right there. That was the computer animation team. But many, he has noted, just don't seem to understand that. They just think, oh, you did that all. I'm like, no, I shot the green screen.
Yeah, they did that.
That's all I did. That's absolutely all I did. So it is cool to see when you see someone just both acknowledging something and, is like, thank you, but really, I don't deserve this. That someone else deserves this. And I'm the guy who helped,
And I'm pretty sure with all the people that Shirley Walker collaborated with, I mean, that is pretty much a huge thing in and of itself.
People like the industry, but they don't know why it works. It's kind of like when you see producers at a convention, like you see in the 90s how they saw the success of movies like Independence Day or Terminator 2, and then they're like every movie should look or sound like that. Oh, Scream's a big hit, so we should make it look, every horror slasher must be like that. But oh, did you not realize that, Independence Day is a 50s movie but wasn't known for the good, having any good story. Terminator 2, you're paying attention to the effects, but you're not copying what mainly makes it work, which is the story, the score, the art direction. And same deal with the other one that had a bunch of issues is Scream is very satirical, and so if you're just going to do it to death, then you're ultimately going to become a mundane, very bad slasher.
That's why you have like Urban Legend or something like that, which is kind of like
what you did last summer. And
Yep.
pretty soon, that's why we would see, once everyone would do a mega hit, then they eventually just kept getting a script for a knockoff that just was never going to be as good. You can't work with shit.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, but that's the way the market works. You find
the way the cookie
thing that
crumbles.
trends, and you're just gonna just kind of keep going on from there. But yeah, no, I was just grateful to see for Shirley Walker that she actually, did do a lot of work with all these great filmmakers, and it seems like a lot of people really kind of respected her work, which is very cool. She did
say, she just kind of just kept burrowing out from whatever restriction was placed upon her.
Yeah, and she just kind of just did her own thing, and she seems to be the type of person that doesn't seem to care so much about awards recognition.
The right people get you.
She had work. It was her job. She had work to do, and she did the job to the best of her abilities, and she's able to keep finding work and doing things, and she kind of did her own stuff, but she like collaborating with people. I think she was just a fan of, working on music scores, and it doesn't matter if she's like just doing collaborated work. She's doing conducting work for Batman, and how cool that is, because we remember that Batman theme.
Oh yeah, very moody.
Very iconic Batman theme. She helped conduct that. All right. And the conductor, it does play a big part in how it's going to sound for the actual finished feature. And if you put like another conductor, what sound the same? Maybe, but maybe not. I think both her and Danny Elfman I'm pretty sure. I think that her and Danny Elfman had like the same mind wavelength when it came to scoring Batman. So when the animated series came out, well, Danny Elfman's busy with other projects. The best thing to do is to get
he was really in demand. People forget about that. There's some who kind of just tuned out or didn't put two and two together. It's like, this is the dude from Oinga Boinga.
Yeah. And I don't want people to be like, well, and maybe I made that same assumption that she's, copying the score from Danny Elfman. No, she's not copying the score. She's just taken that initial tone that's familiar for Batman and put her own, things to it, because she does make that score her own. And yes, is she taking sort of like tones and cues from Danny Elfman? Most likely, yes. I mean, that's sort of like the blueprint. That's like the main.
But it isn't everything,
Well, yeah, but that Danny Elfman score for the first two Batmans is just so iconic. So when they made a Batman animated series, that's what's in people's heads, is that music that Danny Elfman did. So when Shirley Walker did the score for this, now keep in mind, folks, that this is a series. It's not like just a 2-hour movie. This is like 24 episodes a season, and you have to make music for each characters. And I remember when she does stuff for the Joker, it has like this very much like the circus vibe to it, which I actually really love. It's a big top sort of vibe, and she puts that element to it, and she just does a really great job of making each episode stand out on its own. And it's very kind of cool to watch, yet it still feels like a continuation of those movies, which is perfect. And you don't want someone that's trying to like take a score, like a iconic score from a movie, and then just do something completely different with it. So I respect that very much, what she's done for the world of film and composing, because she obviously loves music very much and wants to just honor that original composer, but yet she wants to make her own, contributions to that. I think I made the word there, contributions. That's not a word. I'm sorry. Contributions.
Okay, I was about to say, you're saying tribulations.
Contributions. I'm making all new words here. Contributions. All right, that's right.
No pressure.
I'm making my own dictionary, okay, Cam? I think I can do that. So,
Do it. Oh man. And so yeah, we've been over what stands out the most to us. It's a shame she died so young at like age 61. And
oh yeah.
But at least she was still kind of just very heavily remembered, and it wasn't just industry only thing. I'm seeing a lot of cool reviews about her, and it seems like many remember her fondly. And again, I definitely think those later TV show scores are definitely what is giving her the most attention right now.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and like I said before, I will definitely want to seek out some of those movies. I want to check out her found score, which is that Black Christmas remake. I'm very kind of curious about that and see what she does for that score. I loved her, score for the Willard remake. I thought they added so much more to that movie than the original, with Ernest Borgnine as the mean boss. I remember him in the original, and I forgot Bruce Davison played Willard in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that the casting of Arlie Ermy as the mean boss in the remake, and they got Crispin Glover, I thought that was absolutely great. Their commentary on that disc is actually really kind of fun. That's a lot of great. Yeah, and
Arlie is always a wacky guy.
And love Crispin Glover. But yeah, that score for Willard is still probably like my favorite. The use of accordions is just so great because it's not something you normally hear in a score.
Not at all.
And that's like one of the main focal points of that score is the accordion. It's like you're hearing an accordion in that, yes. And it sounds off and off-putting, but yet it works so great too because the character of Willard is off and off-putting. He's weird. It's a weird score.
It's supposed to be, and so therefore the score is weird. Yeah,
exactly. And I do like what she kind of did for the Escape from LA, even though I know a lot of people hate that movie because it essentially is a remake of Escape from New York. That's what it is. It's the same kind of plot over again, but it's just done on a higher budget, I guess you would say. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it seems to be kind of
annoying too. I mean, I'm kind of seeing this with some of the Star Trek stuff where people are complaining about serialized versus standalone. I'm like, guys, it's literally all the same formulas. It's just going about it. And same deal here. It's the same formula, but people are acting like, oh, it's a bigger budget. I'm like, just because it's a big budget doesn't mean it sucks.
Yeah, and I kind of like some of the changes they put in there. But yeah, Escape from New York is a great dystopian movie, and it's always going to remain the classic. But I like the bad cheesiness of Escape from LA. Come on, you got Bruce Campbell, all right. You got Pam Grier. You got freaking Peter Fonda,
even Ensign Rowe herself, Michelle Forbes.
Yes, very much. Yeah, it's got the surfing scenes, and I thought that
Peter Fonda, and Bashimi surfing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Her music in that one basically kind of ups the minimalistic electronic score that John Carpenter had in the first one, and it makes it much more of a blockbuster type in a way, but it's really not. It's a very much overdone score, but I kind of like how cheesy it is. It's a lot more cheesier. It's got more of that rock soundtrack.
It's like we're afraid to get cheesy nowadays. It just seems like everybody has to have it out and gotta bitch slap each other.
And they're like it's not such a serious the other one. The other one is like this, very down and dirty movie, and I'm blanking my words right now. But the original is very much gritty, and it takes place in this near future, and it's very much more dark. And this other one is just too silly and late. That's not Stick Plissken. I'm like, I don't know. We'll ask with it. It's fine. Yeah, I do wish they would have made a Bitch Open Little China movie instead. Another Bitch Open Little China movie instead of Escape from LA. But still, I have both movies. I watch them back to back. I enjoy them.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
man.
I got nothing to say about Miss Walker.
Oh, I'm just glad you picked this person, because this was someone I knew the name, but I hadn't investigated her work as much, and so this was just cool to just go through her material and see why it appealed. And this is what we kind of try to do. We try to do all kinds of just numerous films that and TV and music and video game material that everyone can just say, that's one hell of a fun outing.
100%. Yeah. No.
What do you have coming up on your shows?
Right now, Cinema Recall, we are doing a lot of like horror themed episodes throughout the month of October. So each episode you come on there, we'll have like a different horror topic or different horror movie review.
I got my calendar marked for that day.
Yeah. So that's where I know we did stuff on horror tropes and some of our favorite horror movies, and we're most likely going to try to do a review of The Munsters, as well as Hocus Pocus 2, and then other things. I want to try to write an article about the movie Blonde and the backlash I got for liking that movie. And so I'll do stuff with that. Tales from the Double R, which is a Twin Peaks podcast I host with Ryan Luis Rodriguez of One Track Mind. We're going through every episode.
I didn't know you were on that. Wow.
Yeah.
Ryan is a cool dude.
Ryan and I host a Twin Peaks podcast over at
I saw that was
Podcast.
upcoming, but I didn't. Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Small world. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. So we do that like every month over at Rapple Podcast. We're going through every episode of Twin Peaks, and we're setting it inside the Double R Diner, and we're playing investigators, investigating every episode and going through all the things of Twin Peaks because love the show, and we're gonna do each season. So rabbitholepodcast.com. As far as Cinema Recall, cinemarecall.net is our website for that. Find us on all the social media apps. You just type in Cinema Recall. We're there. We have upcoming right now. We have an interview with the lead actor from The Stylist, Najara Townsend. She's going to be on our upcoming episode. And then we have a local Minnesota author named Scott Burtness to talk about favorite werewolf movies. So that'll be another show coming up soon.
That has to be fun. I just don't doubt it at all.
Oh yeah? No.
So very cool. Twin Peaks is one hell of a fun show to go through, and I got to go through again myself. I've just seen. It was always one of those. Everything is due for rediscovery, and I think a lot of people just don't allow themselves. I kind of wish we'd see less of that toxic fandom. If you don't like what's out now, watch a show you haven't seen that you meant to see years ago, instead of I'm going to just go back and rewatch, only what I've already seen and then complain. It's just like, we have so many people who deny themselves just fun.
Yeah. And that's what I'll get to. But if you like something, fine. If you don't like something, that's fine. But don't go and attack someone for liking something.
Don't ruin their enjoyment. Don't get in the way. Don't act like there isn't anything good out when you just got to look for it. Like, instead of just waiting on a friend to, say something that may or may not be helpful, I still am just seeking out just stuff that, like has my taste. Like, if you go to besttaste.net or something like that, it'll just literally be looking for stuff based on keywords. A lot of people like this because it shares a lot of the same themes or cast and crew or material as this.
Yeah. And I don't mind if someone has like a disagreement on stuff that I like or post right there. That's great. Let's have a conversation about that. Don't post articles about something that has nothing to do
why movies
with what I'm talking about.
Longer good. No, I won't. Okay, so you're part of the problem. You're just contributed to.
Yeah, like don't like when I did my thing about Blonde and two. I had so many people post articles saying that how Brad Pitt abused people and everything like that. How he's a producer on this. I'm like, I just didn't like the movie. I had nothing to say about Brad Pitt or any of his allegations that him and Angelina Jolie did. It's not what I'm here to talk about. It's
not what this is. And yeah. There are other times where it just seems like people also just want to complain about something nonstop, to where it's like, so what do you want to do? Do you want to file a lawsuit against this person who you've heard bad shit about? Do you have a personal connection to this? And will any kind of legal action be good? And there's plenty of that too. They're like, I just don't think anything will be good enough. And it's like, well, in that case, we just don't have anything to talk about. just just move on. If I don't think anything good is going to come out of something, the last thing I do is just hamper on it non-stop. That is the equivalent of beating a dead horse. It is really does not bring anything to anybody. And if there's, eventually a conversation has to come to an end. If it just feels like an unpleasant forum bickering back and forth, that's a turn off.
So many times, Cam, I will actually tell someone, I see your point and I respect your point of view, and let's leave it as we just don't agree. And like, all right, thank you so much for commenting. And then they'll keep going with it. And they'll keep posting other things too. But all right, that's it. Obviously, you're just being a troll, and I'm done. I'm just no.
And I don't know. Some people want to just keep reposting and making sure you saw what they saw. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to kick you out of this group. Like I commented on one guy's post, and he deleted the comment. And I was like, okay, well, I said what I said. I'm sorry it didn't appeal, but I'm just gonna leave it there. And there's others who would probably just go to town and be like, you're censoring me. And it's like, no one's being censored. It's just, and then there's the other, oh, why do you not agree with it? It's like, maybe
I know.
I don't have to agree or disagree. There's been plenty of topics we brought other people on, and I just said, hey, sometimes I would give fair warning, and I had others is like, oh, I want to hear a different perspective. And then there's others who's like, they will get so freaked out and do the whole "you're dead to me." I'm like, okay, let's not even joke. I know you're joking.
Settle down, all right?
Because
people.
No one is any less of a person for liking something or disliking something that I may or may not like. I really don't see the point. The whole point is sometimes someone will even in the review, positive or negative, bring up another thing that is overlooked. The whole thing is we are observers. There's no truth to observe other than just what we witnessed and what we just factor in. And I don't know. It seems like I find that the ones who say I can respect different opinions are even the biggest ones. Like that's just a legit lie that they just put out there just as a what's it called? Just explanation or a disclaimer, but the disclaimer is empty because it actually does not mean anything. It's just so that no one has to hold whatever their response is accountable. And I've even seen people block each other just because they're disliking stuff and then they would follow up with a text to me. Can you believe what he just said? I'm like, yes, I can, because he said before he does not like this kind of thing. Oh, he's a dickbag. Why is he a dickbag? He likes Lawrence of Arabia, but he doesn't like Blade Runner.
Okay, well, why does that make a difference?
It doesn't make any difference.
I don't.
He likes a old school war movie, and he hated a more modern sci-fi adventure movie. It's okay. It's okay, Ben. Yeah. Let's go in the corner.
Just like what you like. It's totally cool. There are a lot of Blade Runner fans. I will go.
Do I need to get some cookies just so you?
I will give cookies because I'm a Blade Runner fan, so I will tell them that you're okay. I like Blade Runner. What version do you like? I don't know. I like the theatrical cut. Theatrical cut? No, you don't like the final cut. How dare you like? No one likes the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut of Blade Runner. How dare you?
I will see that too. I will sometimes let people know. By the way,
Actually, I love all versions of Blade Runner. I cannot pick a favorite, but it depends on my mood. Sometimes I want to hear.
Let's do a ranking of all the cuts of it. But yeah, it does get annoying when you just see just so many they just cannot let it go. And it's just like nothing is going to change anytime soon. So maybe we should just shift the conversation to something that is eventually going to end, because I think all together.
It's the internet. It never ends. It's one of those things. It's one of the bad things. It's great that the internet can bring a whole bunch of people together, which is a great thing. It's great that it allows the opportunity for you and I to talk like this and do shows. And it's great. It's a great thing. It brings communities together very well. But you got to the good and the bad, and the bad is all the toxicity that happens with it, because even though it brings people together, there's always people out there that are going to be like, well, I feel bitter and I feel alone, and I'm just going to shit on what you like, and I'm just going to just be
But I mean,
that
even
person.
the version nowadays with so many movies that were released with an unrated or extended, TV or director's cut is like, I now even have to tell people now, is like, whatever version you saw definitely determines your interpretation. Like we're never going to get a definitive version of Michael Mann's The Keep, but you can watch a different version of Heaven's Gate or even Waterworld.
Sure. Oh, yeah,
And
that's right. Oh, I know.
I've had to. Everyone who I've introduced to the uncut version of Johnny Mnemonic has generally liked it, but I know so many others who only saw the theatrical. To them, they will never rewatch that movie because it was such an awful version. But for me, when I saw it, I was kind of just meh. I'm like, this looks like a bad episode of Star Trek or Babylon 5 with some Blade Runner tech, but there's clearly a good movie in there somewhere. I don't think Keanu Reeves would have done The Matrix without it. And I see the uncut version. Oh, it makes so much better sense.
Does it now? So I actually like the theatrical cut of Johnny Mnemonic. I do. I find it to be kind of a fun.
It was intriguing.
Throwback to 90s.
I just felt like the acting was hammy and the plot didn't make any sense to me. And here I watched it.
Sure.
There's a narration. There's a different score. There's a different inserts. And I will give you a digital copy if you want. Just give me your email.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes. I would love that.
I got the Blu-ray version of it so I could even see it, and I was guffawing even more. It said the 2020, the year has been plagued. So this totally predicted COVID.
Yes. Oh, is that the black and white cut that I've heard about? Is that
that hasn't come out yet, but I'm gonna find that interesting because that's gonna definitely give it kind of a Ion Flux kind of.
Is that going to be the direct? Is that going to be the the new version, the black and white cut? Is that going to be the?
I think so, and because the director really he was done documentaries and music videos, and he actually did want to do it in that way. But the uncut version was just cool because that's where everyone in Germany and Japan basically saw it. You actually knew why Takeshi Kitano and Dolph Lundgren's predicament was, instead of just coming out of nowhere with a weapon trying to kill.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Okay. I'm very intrigued by that because I had no idea that they actually made another version of that, which is cool because I actually like it very much. And that's a great thing too by having all these different cuts. Like I saw the
and there's some other movies people were doing that with even the Snyder cut. They were like, I hate it so much. Fuck it. It's like me and my sister, we made time for it and we finished it over 2 days. It was like totally different movie. And then what's funny is afterwards she's like, I still want to kind of blend this from the theatrical versus the directors. I'm like, this is as good as you're gonna get. It's two different. You can like both, or you can like one or the other. But what you should watch a different version of a movie instead of just acting like it is beyond repair. It cannot be good. It cannot be improved upon.
No, yeah, that is kind of bull. I agree.
There's even extended versions of certain TV shows. Like right now, the Highlander TV show is getting a remaster, and it's the uncut French version.
Really? Oh, damn.
So you're gonna see.
Well, shit.
Tits and ass.
I love it. Tits and ass. Now it's only like it's extended versions of Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh.
That's, all the Andy Sedaris movies, bring them back out on Blu-ray in 4K.
Nice.
Return to Savage Beach, the 4-hour cut. Oh, sweet. All right, cool. Or bring out Trauma movies, but have Trauma movies be in 4K with special extended versions of the Tusk Avenger.
And now it looks even worse because it wasn't made.
Yes.
4K, yeah, which adds to the fun and hilarity of it. And
yeah,
I don't know. Everyone needs to just have fun with pop culture. I mean, there's some of people who like deliberately will send a bad movie that they think someone will hate for their Patreon. I'm like, we're not here to destroy something. Yes, sometimes we might record an angry reaction or a negative review, but ultimately want to tell everyone a little bit about the thing and why there's a big divide or difference of opinion on it, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Why is it vary by audience so much? Why is it too weird for a mainstream audience? Why is it so bad it's good? Trashy fun.
A lot of times it happens like the year, it depends on what's going on in pop culture at the time too. I mean, I think right now people are having a lot more celebration of the whole so bad it's good. But I've seen some movies that are claimed to be so bad that they're good, but they're trying to be just
even movies that vary by audience. You won't get a consistent take on Evil Dead. You'll just see people say, "Oh, I love it." And if you want to actually know their opinion, you got to actually kind of wait a while. It's like, I legit love it. I am freaked out by it. Or I think it's trashy fun. Or I think it's so awful, but I got to know more about it, or I
Yeah.
legit like it, but it's just a comedy, guys, with gore.
Yeah, I mean, some people are kind of terrified by it. Some people think it's a
Especially
comedy.
in Japan. There's a lot of animes rumored to be inspired by it.
Oh, I bet. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
They got to be out there somewhere.
Oh, I love it, man.
Oh, nah, I can do without Hintei, but that's me. So I'll conclude it here. I thank you ever so much.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a chapter.